Hey guys, welcome on in to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. Yeah, you know me. We are drinking, we are binking from home, as everyone who is watching this right now is at home because we are all doing our part to stay in and stay safe during a very unprecedented time with coronavirus around the world. So we don't want to stop having fun and making fun content for you guys while we're all trying to figure out our new norm. We're all in this together. And I am so excited today to bring on a guest who is one of my good friends. We go way back to the One for Fun, Fox Sports 1. She's now a big-time sideline reporter on ESPN, the one and only Molly McGrath. Molly, thanks for joining me here today.
Woo-hoo! Thanks for having me on. I wish it could be in person, but
I know.
We're changing with the times. And how cool to go from, what was it, like 2013? You and I were starting our first national jobs together. We shared a dressing room full of random like clips of hair and bronzers everywhere, and we got to watch each other grow and progress through our careers. And I'm just such a big fan of yours, and the show has been so much fun to watch. So I'm so honored that you're having me on. Thank you.
You are so sweet. It has been also such a joy watching you now rise the ranks at ESPN, killing it on the sidelines, and you've done such a good job of being so fun, if I can say that. Like, that's not a great word to describe it, but like, you get in the crowds, you bring the food, you show people like a side that, for me, as someone who has a short attention span and who likes to see funny, weird things, like, you do a really good job of that, as well as breaking news. And you did do a huge story this year that we're going to get to in a second. But you are a sideline reporter. You're in Seattle. You were at Justin Herbert's pro day when the whole world stopped, pretty much. Yeah. What has quarantine been like for you as a sideline reporter?
I mean, if there aren't events and there aren't games, I'm not working. So it's kind of surreal because I don't know when I'm going to work again. I don't have some kind of amazing looking bookshelf behind me and I'm doing hits from home for NFL Live or things like that, which is awesome for the studio people. And they've done such a good job in our studios of adapting and adjusting to what the times have called for. But first and foremost, I'm a sideline reporter. So if there are no games, I'm not working. And I was in the middle, as you said, of covering Justin Herbert's pro day. So I don't even know what day it is, but it was maybe 2 weeks ago or so. It was on a Wednesday. The NBA suspended their season. That was the first domino to fall. When the NBA did that, everyone else had to react. The next day was a Thursday. That was the day I was at Justin Herbert's pro day. And I'm watching. I remember exactly where I was and how I felt when I was watching SportsCenter that day, saying, this seems pretty historic. Everything is being canceled. It seemed like the world stopped, that day, because March Madness was canceled. All the conference tournaments were canceled. It all kind of happened. It was a wild 24 to 48 hours. And I remember sitting there thinking, this is unprecedented. I've never lived through something like this. And now in quarantine, I've never lived in a situation where I'm stuck in my house. I live my life on the road.
You've lived the opposite life, yeah.
I usually never get to be home. At one point in February, my husband pointed this out to me because he does my expenses because he's literally an angel. And he's like, in the month of February, during a 13-day span, you were gone for 11 days. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Because I was covering the XFL and I was covering college basketball and I was traveling to both and trying to do both. So I'm used to being home for a day and then leaving. This is easily the most amount of time I've ever spent with my husband, I think, in our relationship. Because usually it is in normal life, like he's going to work. Okay, I'll see you later. I'm going to travel. We are literally just stuck together in this house, which it's gone really well. We've gotten into a good rhythm and a good schedule of things, but it is surreal. I don't have one of those jobs where I can work from home. I'm literally just like doing yoga every day and hoping that sports come back.
Yeah. And you know what else you're going to be doing is, we forgot the best part. We're going to be drinking. And let's see what you got. What do we got here?
Okay, so this is a local Pacific Northwest beer from Astoria, Oregon, Fort George, City of Dreams. It is my favorite beer maybe ever. Let's crack this bad boy. Ooh. And it's, I have my Celtics glass. Nice. It's a hazy New England style IPA.
Okay,
And
great.
it's kind of cloudy. It's like, it's not bitter at all, but it's a heavier kind of beer in the sense where it's kind of like drinking a milkshake. Call it a beer shake, and it's just delicious.
That sounds great. I thought I would bring this is a Bud Heavy. It is a delicacy of degenerates everywhere, including myself. And I wanted to get what you had, but, you know, in the spirit of staying at home, I was like, you should stay home, Julie. And also it was going to be difficult because it's not, you know, very interesting beer places aren't open necessarily right now as an essential service, unfortunately. But okay, let's toast. What do you want to toast to, Molly? What's good going on right now?
I would love to toast to you, to our friendship, the fact that we've been friends for so long. We've seen each other through changes in our careers, getting different jobs, losing jobs, relationships. We've seen each other through some stuff. So this is to you, and the fact that you're still working from home and you're putting on makeup maybe every day, and I respect it. So cheers to JSB.
Well, Molly, thank you. Cheers to you. This is awesome.
Thanks for giving me an excuse to drink early today. I don't feel so bad about it. By the way, I'm on the West Coast, so this is like noon.
I know. When we were planning this, I'm like, let's try to go later in the day so that she's not drinking at like 10 a.m. her time, which we've had people on the show drink early in the morning, but that's New York City. That's the only thing you do here. And now this is the only thing you do in quarantine. That's like my boyfriend and I crushed 2 bottles of white wine like on Sunday afternoon after we drank already every other day. We were like, okay, I guess this is the new us right now. So on that note, and also a funny story for Molly's husband that she mentioned, Max, I kind of like basically helped them get together because she was trying to set him up with me. And I was like, nope, you guys are in love with one another. And then I pushed them towards one another.
I think like you need to get credit for that. I think the world needs to know this story because Max will forever be indebted to you, and you're like his favorite person ever because you could maybe be the reason why we're married right now. That's like
I think I am. I think that is exactly it.
Yeah. So
wait. We'll get into it. We have to take a quick time out though. We have to take a little break for some bevies, but we'll be back with a whole lot more on Drinks with Binks with Molly McGrath. All right, guys, welcome on back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB. We got Molly McGrath from ESPN. We're drinking some beer. She's got some cool stuff from Pacific Northwest. I got some Bud Heavy. No, we love Anheuser-Busch. We love every drink in the entire world on Drinks with Binks. Molly, you had a funny video you put up on Twitter from your quarantine of doing play-by-play of your dogs, Stuart and Matthew, and that has become it kind of like gained a lot of traction. People started doing that kind of stuff. What has been what's been sort of your take on like now creating content maybe with even just your daily life in the quarantine?
I think people are craving content right now. Like I said that to you earlier when we were texting, people are craving content. People are so bored. There's only so much Netflix you can watch. We're missing sports so much. And I think people just want something to laugh and smile at because these are such serious, unprecedented times. So I came up with the idea one morning when I was feeding my dogs, and they literally just like swallow it whole, and it's almost a race to see who can finish first and who can lick the other dog's bowl first. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of like a competition. I'm missing sports. I'm missing competition. I should like call play-by-play of this tomorrow when the dogs have breakfast. And I was looking online, and there was a broadcaster in the UK, a football, like a soccer broadcaster, who was doing play-by-play of everyday life. There were people walking around in a park, and he was doing this hilarious commentary. I love it. So I was looking for all different videos of that because I thought it was so fun. And so like people are craving that kind of thing right now. So I called play-by-play of my dogs eating their food, Stuart and Matthew. It was like terrible. I'm obviously not a play-by-play.
You were good. You're really good, by the way.
Is it bad? I was nervous. I was like, oh, I have to get this right. Like only one take because of the dot. Like I can't.
I thought about it. I was
again.
like, did she get this? Like, yeah, it was like, it had to be one take. She couldn't have filmed it and then also did like a voiceover, but you were good. Cause I've been trying to do some play-by-play of just like people on the streets as I police the streets. And I get tongue tied. I'm like, like, obviously that's why I wouldn't be a good play-by-play person, but you were great. You got the skills.
Thank you. Well, okay, so that went well because it's a natural competition. I actually tried this morning to do a little bit of play-by-play of them playing tug of war, like who was going to get the teddy bear, and it was so brutal. I'm never going to post it, and it was like a boom goes the dynamite type moment where I was like, I'm exposing myself as a terrible person at my job. There's no way I'm posting this.
But you're not a play-by-play person, so I think it'd be funny. It'd be like, you got to put up a second iteration of Stu and Matthew going at each other, okay? Because Stewie, he was pretty good on that bull licking. He got it.
He's so intense.
I know. Okay, so you mentioned that for sideline reporting, obviously you're not working right now, and like you can't work from home. By the way, I have the best job in the world. I'm literally doing what we would do in our spare time. Shh, don't tell my bosses, but still getting paid to do what I'm doing with everyone. But the fact is, like, have you thought about if for whatever reason you couldn't be a sideline reporter again, what would you be?
Oh my gosh. I've thought about this a lot because our industry is a little volatile in a sense where, like, what if I don't get my contract renewed? What if I don't get this dream job that I want? And so I've tried to think of, what else I would want to do if it wasn't sports. Because if I wasn't a sideline reporter, I'd obviously try to be a host or to have my own show.
Yeah,
like what
you have a lot of literally experience.
Yeah, exactly. And like your job is a dream. You get to drink and interview people and like tell their stories and have fun.
I'm going to need a liver transplant, though. That's the only downside of this.
You're Canadian. You were built with a liver of steel. You're fine. You're Canadian.
I try to tell my boyfriend that like my Canadianness has not helped the fact that like being around people, and you know this firsthand experience that like 4-5 drinks to me is like a walk in the park, and like that's not everyone's style.
When I used to go out with you in Los Angeles back in the day, back in the Fox Sports 1 days, I'm the kind of person where I like to match people drink for drink. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get another. Whenever I did that with you, I would get so drunk and I would like go home and get sick, and you were fine. The next day you were like up early posting pictures from the beach. Like it was nothing to you.
Yeah.
Okay. But back to the question.
I'm a great influence on you.
I know. I digress. If it weren't to be a part of a show in sports, I would either want to do an HGTV show because I love that shit. It's so entertaining. It's so much fun. So I'd want to be on an HGTV show, host something like that. Or I would just be a crazy dog lady. Like, I think I would just rescue I like already am, obviously, but I would just rescue all the dogs and like have a dog sanctuary, and I would want to be a dog sitter and a dog walker and do something like that with animals. And I've told that to Max before, like at some point when I'm retired, I want to work with animals. Like I'm just so passionate about that, and just like help save animals. My 2 dogs are rescues, and just to see how far they've come. Stuart, I got him as a baby. I literally feel like I birthed him. He's my child. Matthew, our second dog that we got like a couple years ago, was kind of a problem dog where he tried to like fight every dog he ever saw. And he was really timid and scared. And just to watch him progress and the way that he like loves us and now loves Stuart, his brother. And that's the kind of thing that makes me feel happy and fulfilled. So something with animals, if it weren't to be something with TV, I think.
That would be nice. Like, yeah, even just as you mentioned in retirement, you could have some sort of like nice dog sanctuary. Maybe you and Keith Olbermann could like pair up and save all the dogs in the world. Those are great. And yeah, I think it is really right now forcing us like, what else would we do? And also just sort of like, I read this great article where the idea is like, we're so go with our careers the whole time. And then right now it's like, we can't really be like, we're trying to just like survive basically. Like, do I have enough money to keep going? Like, cause some jobs aren't paying if they're freelance jobs. Like, do I have, like, is my family okay? Like like things that are usually are like, oh, you know, how can I get this? How can I do this? Keep going to my ultimate goals. And then now it's like, okay, kind of like just survive right now, even though it's not like we're surviving like as in Survivor and like, oh my gosh, this is dog eat dog. It's like, how do we just like stay okay right now? Because it's really messed up. And luckily enough, we're still getting paid, because I know a lot of people are, I mean, hopefully by the time this airs, like I'm still getting paid, because you never know in like this day and age. But yeah, so that is very, very interesting insight. And I want to find out though more. You've had some wild experiences as a sideline reporter, especially even this year, and including one of the biggest names in college football. You were on the sideline when something very important happened to him. We'll have that and more coming up on the next segment of Drinks with Binks. Hey guys, welcome back into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. We are working from home / wasted from home. We got Molly McGrath from ESPN on. And Molly, you do college football, college basketball, softball, XFL, everything. Tell me about when you were on the sideline when Tua Tagovailoa had his season-ending injury this year.
That was, I think, one of the biggest moments that I've ever witnessed in my career. There are some big things, you know, when things happen, you have instincts like, oh, this is a big moment. I need to hustle to get this story. That was one of those moments that you didn't want to see happen. And it was heartbreaking because I love him as an athlete. Like, he's one of the most incredible athletes. But I knew it was a big story. And while giving him space and respect for him and his family, I also knew I needed to get the information that everyone was wondering, because, you know, it was huge at the time. So it was against Mississippi State in Starkville. It's, you know, a couple minutes left before halftime, and they're up huge. They're up big, and we see the backup warming up, and I'm thinking, okay, the backup's going to go in, and I'm telling my producer, when you notice things on the sidelines, you tell your producer so they can get a shot of it. The backup, Mac Jones, is warming up. I think Tua's coming out. Tua has shaken everyone's hand on the sideline. He's coming out of this game. Tua goes back in. We're all shocked. First play of coming back in, he goes down and gets injured. I was on the opposite sideline from the injury at that point. I literally sprinted, like ran to the sideline closest to where he was so I could get a different vantage point. And, you know, the things that I saw and heard and felt were heartbreaking. I mean, this invincible athlete is sobbing, crying in pain, and he had to be picked up and put onto a cart. He was then put on the cart, and they drove the cart down the, you know, kind of the side of the field to an x-ray room. And I knew that the x-ray room was there. That's one of the things when you're covering a game or an event, you need to know, okay, where are the locker rooms? Where's the x-ray room? Where's the ambulance in case anyone needs to be taken out in an ambulance? So I knew he was going to the x-ray room. And so I sprinted literally the length of the field behind the cart. If you look back on the broadcast, you can literally see me sprinting behind in a red coat, like flailing in the wind, because I knew the moment that he got off the cart was going to be the most crucial moment, because I needed to see if he was going to be able to support his own weight on that injured leg, because at that point we could tell it was a leg injury. We weren't sure. He had just had ankle surgery earlier that season. So when it came time to bring him off the cart, he couldn't get off on his own. He had to be picked up and carried. And I spoke to someone with the team, with a relationship that I had created before the game. And they told me that it wasn't his ankle that everyone thought it was his hip, and he was getting x-rays on his hip. And all of that happened. I'm out of breath. They come out of break. They throw it down to me, and I'm trying to describe it in a way that shows the severity of the situation, but is also respectful of Tua, but it was a big moment, you know, and you know, Julie, you've been on the sidelines before. When those big moments happen, you kind of just black out and you react. Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of reacting. So I gave the report that it was his hip, not his ankle. And then I have to sprint to the other end of the field because it's halftime. By the time I do that report, it's just about halftime. And so I think, okay, I'm about to interview one of the most legendary coaches of our time, Nick Saban, about why he left his athlete in the game and about this injury. So I remember thinking I need to ask my questions very carefully here. And so the first question, I think, was an open-ended, what can you tell us about Tua's condition? Something of that sort. And he told us it was his hip. He verified that information that I had, and he was really open about it. He was surprisingly calm and very open. And the second question was the harder one, because you want to ask, why did you leave him in the game? But you don't want to put someone on the defensive. You don't want to say, is this your fault? Like, you don't want to assign any blame, because in that situation, there is no blame to assign. It was a freak accident. And so instead I said, Coach, we saw Mac Jones warming up. Did Tua lobby to stay in? Essentially, was it Tua's decision? Giving him an out. Yeah. Was it Tua's decision or was it yours? And he said, no, Tua didn't lobby to stay in. It was all me. I decided to go through 2 minutes, and he admitted that it was his decision. So that was one of those moments that you walk away at the end of the day feeling satisfied that you covered it in the right way and you did your job. But I also couldn't sleep that night, and I felt sick to my stomach because I knew that I had covered the end of this. That was the last time we saw him in that uniform, like the end of this kid's college career. Luckily, he looks great now. He's posted some videos of him working out, and it looks like that hip isn't going to be an issue, and he's going to go on, no doubt, to have a very long, successful NFL career. But that was definitely one of the moments of my career that felt surreal, and it was more instinctual than anything.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to be in that moment, you got information that no one else had, and then being able to deliver it on a national platform. When you mentioned you're out of breath, you're like just running on fumes, the adrenaline overload, and then trying to come down off of that afterward, because it is an incredible career moment, but it's also someone else's livelihood, right? So it's like so many emotions at once, but you did such a great job with it. And as you mentioned, it's like being in, you never know when these moments could happen, like anywhere when you're working a game. And you worked some other games on the sideline for the XFL. I want to ask you a quick question. We don't have a whole lot of time. When we return on Drinks with Binks after this timeout. All right, we've had an awesome time here with Molly McGrath on Drinks with Binks, work from home, wasted from home edition. Molly, we don't have a lot of time left, but where can we see you next? Like, what are you doing next?
I literally don't know. When events come back, I will be back on TV. Hopefully college football season goes forward as scheduled. In the meantime, I'm doing different discussions with other sideline reporters that we have from ESPN. You'll see me in little video things, trying to create content here and there, but on actual TV, I have no idea, and that is why I'm drinking at noon on a weekday. So thank you for giving me an excuse.
That is a very good reason to be doing that. And I also put on clothes and makeup today too, so you gave me a reason to get out of bed as well. Thank you so much, Molly McGrath. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram and watch for her on the sidelines as well. We're going to have more content with her exclusively on social, so don't go anywhere with that. And make sure you watch Drinks with Binks Friday, 8 p.m. fubosportsnetwork.com for free. fuboTV. I usually just blitz so many different social clips everywhere. And stay safe and keep drinking whatever drink you may like to drink.